Good morning, boys and girls. Hope you're doing well today. Um, we're on day 3 of our Bend 1 writing workshop, which we are working towards writing another great realistic fiction story. So yesterday, I know that with Miss Labrini, you were working on generating some ideas, kind of getting a sense of what your story might be about. And I'm going to continue that work today as we move towards writing our stories. So fiction writers don't just, choose an idea like you did yesterday and just go and write. There's a lot of that goes into it. And one of the things that goes into it is they kind of live with their idea and thinking about the main parts and the direction that it'll go in. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with your writing that you did yesterday and how we can develop that a little bit more specifically. Um, but I wanted us to just maybe take a moment to think about, what did Miss Campbell do before writing Jabari Jumps? So I'm going to share an interview that I found with her, and maybe we'll get some insight as to the behind the scenes of the story, which I would think for your stories, you might have some behind the scenes too. So here is our author, Miss Campbell. Okay. And the question was, how did the idea for Jabari Jumps come around? And why was it an important one to tell? So this is her reply. A lot of people ask me where I got my idea for the book, so I have a couple of things to say about this. One is me. When I was little, I was really scared to jump off the diving board, even though I loved swimming and I loved the water. So as a creator for kids, I like to tell stories that kids can relate to. And that was just this feeling that really stuck with me. I figured a lot of kids would have a similar experience. But even if that experience wasn't specifically to diving boards, everybody can relate to fear and overcoming it. Then another reason behind this book is I came up with this idea a really long time ago. I was watching the Olympics a lot, and Colin Jones, here he is, who was an Olympic swimmer, was winning all these medals at the time. And he was the first African American to win a world record in swimming. I was really interested in him and started researching him and his story. And he works for Make a Splash Foundation, which teaches kids how to swim. So that was kind of kicking around a lot as well. And then I don't know if it was quite what you're asking, but a lot of people ask me about the Jabari character. Why does he look like that? Because I'm white, Jabari's black, and obviously we do not look the same. Part of that was Cullen Jones, but a lot of it was based on my family. I noticed friends of mine were saying it's really hard to find books that look like my kids. I decided to make Jabari look like my cousin and my dad look like his dad, my uncle. So I just thought that was interesting because when we think about realistic fiction writing, we think about what it is that we feel strongly to write about. And usually we write about things that relate to us. So your character, I would hope, is doing something that either you've experienced or you felt or you could connect to, just like Miss Campbell. So one helpful tool, and I can't really say that Miss Campbell used this, but one helpful tool that we use as writers prepare to draft their stories is to use an organizer called Somebody, Wanted, But, So, However, Eventually. And the idea is that we try to answer those questions. So this should be a little bit more than what you thought about yesterday. So let's see. We're going to try this with Jabari Jumps. Okay. So let's imagine if she used this tool. So here's the chart, and you're going to get a chart just like this to fill in your possible story idea today for your writer's work. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 charts in your notebook, and I'd like you to try, if you had several ideas yesterday, try this out for the 2 that are kind of sticking at the top of your list. So somebody had to want to. So this is what she might have thought. I know that I wanted a boy who wanted to jump off the diving board. Fair enough? Because, well, if you remember from the story, he felt he was ready for it. But he was secretly feeling a bit nervous. So the boy makes excuses and avoids his turn on the diving board. However, his dad knows that he's avoiding it because he's scared, so he tries to make his son feel better. And then eventually, you guys should know the answer to that question. Eventually, the boy goes back and jumps, and he's feeling really proud. So today, what I want you to do is to think about your story and how you would fill in that chart, just like we pretended Miss Campbell might have done. So if you're still saying, my goodness, I don't really have any ideas. Well, remember what I said before. Your ideas should come from things that maybe you've had experience with, just like Miss Campbell. She thought of a boy jumping off a diving board because she had experiences with diving boards. So here are some other ideas just to play around with if you still don't feel very committed. Maybe you have an experience or a memory or a thought about a camping trip. Have you ever gone on one? Do you want to go on one? Or summer camp. Have you been? Do you want to? Is there something that happens at summer camp that you have to work on? Maybe trying or learning something new? A school project or play? Maybe a team or a club, chess club, taekwondo, soccer, fencing, maybe. Preparing for something? Could be anything, right? Story could be about that. And actually, just to speak a little bit about that, with my class in the beginning of the year, my story was about a girl named Lily who was preparing for her grandmother's birthday, and she wanted to make her something really special. So the whole story is about preparing that gift. So you can imagine where that goes. Or maybe working towards something. Okay, so those are some other ideas if you want to play around with those as well. And let's take a look at where you're going to do this work today. So this is your document you got yesterday. Okay, these are some charts we're going to refer back to. Okay, this is the work that you did yesterday, day 2. Now, remember, if you typed, these boxes might push day 3 down a bit. So it might not be at the very top of the next page, but wherever you ended, you should find this. And so I put that chart here just in case you want to look back at it. And I also put the chart I just made with Jabari. But remember, a strong story idea has a clear vision and direction for how you want it to end. These were some of the examples we had today, right? And then possible story idea number 1, you could type what it is and then fill in the chart. And possible story idea number 2. Now by tomorrow, you're going to have to commit to one. So really play around with that and see how that goes for you. All right, boys and girls, I think you're all set for day 3, and I'm more than confident that you will find your direction and decide on what your story will become. And I know that for myself and the other teachers, we're super excited to see what you come up with. Okay? Bye, everybody.